Welcome to Often Pacing on Tab Radio Racing and Sport. Tim Walker will be joined by Matt Young and Oliver Cownie as they delve into the form for today's Pinjarra harness meeting, as well as an early look at tomorrow's meeting at Gloucester Park. We are Often Pacing.
And it's great to have your company wherever you might be listening in this Monday morning ahead of another very busy week in harness racing, and we've had plenty to work through over the last couple of days. Tim Walker with you. Busy show on the way. Aiden De Campo is going to be a special guest off the back of a really good night here at Gloucester Park on Friday, and it's been a good couple of weeks, to be fair, to the De Campo stable, and some nice chances today in particular. And also our experts, they are standing by. One of them is Ollie Cownie. Hello to you, Ollie.
Morning, Tim. Morning, Matt. Yeah, it was a fantastic week of racing the last week, and we obviously saw a couple of the sports superstars go around in Don Hugo and Leap to Fame over East, and they were both just so impressive. So, no, really exciting racing at the moment. Might
be a good starting point, that in just a moment, but I'll welcome in Matt Young. It's great to have you in the studio, Matt.
Yeah, morning again, Tim. Ollie, everyone tuned in.
Why don't we start there? Obviously, Don Hugo first and foremost, because we're going to see Don Hugo over here in the West in just a couple of weeks' time, Ollie. We've got a horse that's right on target.
He was ultra impressive there at Menangle on Saturday. It's pretty rare that you see horses break 26 on the way home, and he's done it in a 149 mile, and he's done it fairly comfortably, I would sort of say, looking at him race there. It was really impressive, and he just showed again how classy he is, and he's just a bit better than those rivals at the moment. But gee, he'll be in for a test on Nullarbor night. But he's shown every time he can always make that step up, and whatever challenge is thrown at him, he seems to always be thereabouts. So I'm really looking forward to that.
And what did you make of Leap to Fame there as well?
Oh, it was incredible. You just watch him, and as a harness racing lover, you get goosebumps. He's absolutely smashed the track record there, and the track record was 149.1, and he's gone 148.6, and he's done it hard on the bit, and it looked like he could have nearly got another lap after he's finished there. So he's a truly incredible horse, Leap to Fame, and every time he goes around, it's a privilege to watch him.
Are you getting more and more convinced that Don Hugo is the danger to Swayze, Matt? Pre-barrier draws?
Yeah, Don Hugo, I'm still a big fan of Minstrel, so yep. And it being his home track and being over the longer journey. Yeah, look, Don Hugo is just a horse that he just keeps going from strength to strength, and I think if you didn't expect him to be able to keep taking these steps up, but what he did on Saturday night was unbelievable. Leap to Fame. Any chance we could try and coerce Grant Dixon to bring him to Perth for the Nullarbor, that we would have probably one of the best races in the country. And, so would love any of the slot holders who are looking for one, maybe approach him.
Well, obviously the Ladbroke slot has become available.
There you go.
I would imagine Adam Hamilton will do everything in his power to try and get that horse over here.
It would be so good. Maybe they can do a deal where him and Don Hugo can get on the plane together and go across to New Zealand for the race, and hopefully they can do a package deal, something. If we can get Leap to Fame here, what a race that would be.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for a better race if that was the case. But obviously the disappointing news, never-ending in the Nullarbor, that news coming out late last week, and Magnificent Storm confirmed. All right, so that's a little bit on the East Coast. We'll really ramp up that discussion over the next few weeks, gents, but let's get stuck into Friday night. A good solid night of pacing, 9 events on the program. Ollie, we'll start with you with some horses to follow.
The first horse I had to follow was out of that first race on Friday night in Faking It for Gary Hall Sr. and Stewie McDonald was driving on the night, and I thought it was just a fantastic effort, probably one of the bigger morals beat you could ever see. The horse was really travelling quite well, and then there was a bit of carnage on the turn, and it lost a lot of ground there, and usually when things like that happen to younger horses, like a good chunk of them will just give up and stop trying. But this horse just powered to the line and only went down 2.9 metres in a really slick mile rate for the 3-year-old filly. So I thought that was just a fantastic effort, and this is clearly a horse with above average ability that's going to be a contender in some of the bigger 3-year-old races. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Faking It can do, and I certainly think wherever she goes next, she'll be very, very hard to beat. So she's my first horse to follow. The next one I had was out of race 6. I think Forward Mac's been going particularly well this whole time in, and he ran a really good race not long ago behind Cyclone Geordie, who was so impressive again on Friday. And Forward Mac, he was off the pegs there. He was left breezing. He didn't really want to be in the breeze there, but he battled on really well. Belly Up was a very impressive winner and won pretty comfortably there. But Forward Mac battled on to not be beaten far by My Watch List, who's obviously a very smart horse when right. So I thought there was a lot of merit in the effort from Forward Mac, and certainly in that No Metro win grade, I certainly think there's a race he can take out very soon if he's able to find the peg line there. And then the last horse I had to follow was in the last race, and this is one we'll just need to wait for the right conditions. I think with Uptown Lad, he's just a horse that goes much better at Pinjarra, and he probably ran one of his better races there on Friday at Gloucester Park, but it's just not a track he's done his best racing at. So I certainly think there was more merit to the run than the six metre beaten margin after leading says on paper. So when we see him get back to Pinjarra, I think he will be really hard to beat there, and he might be a reasonable price if he's off 20 or 30 metre handicaps. So keen to follow him, but under the right conditions.
Matt, 2 of your horses to follow are the same as Ollie's.
Yeah, he stitched me there. Faking it, I think we're just seeing the same thing, and I'm in good company, that's for sure. Faking it, outstanding.
Yeah.
And agree with everything Ollie's saying. I don't want to take anything away from Raynette winning, as she was gutsy with her performance, and it would have been great to see what she would have found, because she just seems to find and keep finding. So it would have been great to see what she would have found with Faking It going up alongside. But I do think Faking It was going to go mighty close, and just brilliant run for a horse so inexperienced to be able to cop that hip and shoulder, as Ollie mentioned, and then flash home strongly. She's going to be a really strong horse going forward. Still leaning the caper. Forward Mac loved his run from the breeze. Ryan Ayre's doing a great job with his team. He raced one yesterday. Cooper ran second as well, so he's doing a good job with his team, and I think Forward Mac's got a Metro win in him soon. And my third of those is Mighty Conqueror. He had to come wide. You could see the plan was there for, obviously, Stu McDonald wanted to get to the breeze, but once Junior threw the curveball in with Mighty Ronaldo leading and Tenzing Bromac was in the breeze, he had to sit back. The race was not run to suit. He came wide. He hit the line strongly. His last 2 runs have been really good. I think he can win a free-for-all soon, Mighty Conqueror. So he's an obvious one. He's a Pacing Cup winner, but at the same time, I think he's back, and he's back in a good way. So Faking It, Mighty Conqueror, and Forward Mac, my 3 to follow. Yeah,
the ripe old age of 10, Mighty Conqueror. It's good to see him going along nicely. So we turn our attention to today, and Matt, we'll let you start off with Pinjarra today, and you're going to go to the middle part of the program first and foremost.
Yeah, race 4, I liked My Little Big Man. He went to the line bolting last start. His overall numerical form isn't fantastic, but this horse has got a lot of high speed, and I just think he's a really good opportunity in this event to potentially get across and lead. It looks a little bit easier, and I think he can win. So race 4, number 5, My Little Big Man, I was happy to play him. In race number 5, I thought Minor Catastrophe was a really good place chance. She's been racing against some decent mares company as of late. I think Como Albiento will go to the top. I didn't see a huge amount of pressure in the race, and I thought Minor Catastrophe could definitely run into the placings there. 235 a place looks to be a decent play. And the last, I was happy to be with Charlene for Matt Scott and Shannon Savalco. First up run was good second. Should derive benefit off of that after such a long time away. I think this race looks a touch easier, and I think Shalini can get the job done in the 9th. So race 9, number 5 to win. Race 5, number 1, Minor Catastrophe to place. And race 4, number 5, My Little Big Man to win.
$2 into $1.90, Shalini, since you spoke to us on the Sports Daily earlier on this morning. All right, Ollie, we're going to go over to you now, and you're going to race number 5 for your first best today.
Yeah, I am. I'm kicking things off. Sorry, I've put the wrong race down. I've stitched you up there, Tim. Race 3, we're kicking things off.
Okay.
Roger James in race 3, who's drawn in gate 1 there. I think he's actually going a lot better than his numerical form. He certainly is a horse that can mix his form a little bit, as his record suggests, only having won four times from 127 starts. But when he is right and when he is racing well, he's certainly a very capable horse, and I think he's racing a lot better than his numerical form suggests. So from gate 1, if he is able to show his best gate speed, I think he can land a really prominent position, if not maybe even leading there. So I think 1x3, 1x4, he can be really hard to beat. The dangers do look to be off the back row to me in the Freelancer and Trip Trip Bang Bang. So if he can hold the lead, control it a bit and kick away, hopefully we can get something there. And then the next one I had for us was in race 6. This one's a pretty short price favourite at the moment, Infinite Merit, $1.50 most places at the moment, but I still think that looks reasonably good value in what looks a fairly weak race. So I think Infinite Merit's taken on some stronger company, and this race looks really suitable. Obviously, first up for Jocelyn Young, she does a fantastic job with her horses. I'm sure she'll send it straight to the front end, and from there, it's hard to see anything really catching it from there. Also thought Como El Viento was very hard to beat the previous race, so they could make a few good multi-legs there. And then in the last race, I thought certainly a bit of a query on the start with Pay Homage, has made a number of mistakes in the past, but if he is able to do everything right there and potentially even lead, should be awfully hard to catch in this race. Thought the last effort had a lot of merit there at Pinjarra, sitting without cover, battled on really well, was only beaten 4.6 metres there, and I certainly think a similar effort to that would see him just about winning this race. So he's really hard to beat in the last race.
All right, so that is race 3, number 1, race 6, number 2, and race 9, number 1 for Ollie. The boys going head-to-head in the last match. Race 4, number 5, race 5, number 1, Place, and then race 9, number 5, Shalini there at the end of the day. Okay, let's turn our attention to Gloucester Park tomorrow night. Ollie, we'll let you rock and roll first here. You're going to race 4 for your first play of the night.
Yeah, I'm just going with the Barry draw in race 4. I'm going with Raja Rocks in this race. He's a horse that generally seems to do his best racing when able to find the front, which he couldn't quite do last start, and then he was left without cover and he was beaten 16 metres, but I certainly think the effort was better than that. He was left without cover the previous run as well, and he battled on really well there, was only beaten 5 metres behind Aretha, who obviously looks a very smart horse and ran well again on Friday. So I think Raja Rocks can find the front, and there's probably a couple of horses in this race that will take up a decent share of the market in Blame It on the Night and Great Boulder. So we could get a reasonable price, Raja Rocks, and if he finds the front, I expect him to be hard to beat there. And then in race 6, I think this is just one to put one out in your quaddie, put in multis and things like that. I think Charivari has just come back a different horse. His last couple of efforts have been extremely impressive. He's a horse that previously could over-race quite badly and do a few things wrong, but in those last couple of starts, it seems like he settled beautifully. 2 back, he certainly got things on his terms, but he dashed up really smartly there through the concluding stages and put a margin on them. And then last start, he did a bit of work in the early stages. He worked around, he got the front, and he absolutely dominated. He beat the rest of them by 10 metres, and I thought it was an effort of a horse going places. So I think he's going to be really hard to beat in that race, in race 6.
All right, so that is race 4, Raja Rocks, and race 6, Charivari. Matt, you're a little bit earlier on in the night for your 2.
Yeah, race 2 firstly. Rockability. I think Crunchy's going to be really hard to beat, but I thought Rockability could nearly cross the 2 inside and from there maybe take the cover on Crunchy. And I think if you could get flip of the coin odds better for a place, Rockability's a good horse when on the peg line and can definitely run into the money there. So race 2, number 3, a place, and race 3, number 1, Courage of Lombo. Will butter up again after this horse couldn't get across the lead last start. Happy to be with her on an each-way basis in race 3, number 1, at Courage of Lombo. She's just a much better horse when she's on speed, leading or sitting in a close position, so has to be respected there. Race 3, 1 each way, and race 2 for the number 3 for the place, Rockability.
All right, to go with race 4, number 2, Raja Rocks, and race 6, number 8, Charivari there for Ollie. Thank you for your time this morning, Ollie. We do appreciate it. We'll catch up with you again next week. Enjoy the week ahead.
Thanks, Tim. Looking forward to it.
And Matt, thanks for being in the studio this morning. Nice change up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I normally get a bit lonely.
Don't expect it.
No, more of it, please. Get a bit lonely after the other 2 boys disappear.
I'll go and brave the 38-degree conditions at Pinjarra today.
Yeah, slightly cooler down there, but 34 down there at Pinjarra, so you get a little bit of
God's
respite.
country.
Yes, and obviously a good day to look forward to down there, and then obviously towards Saturday night as well. We forecast that earlier on. The Bunbury Cup is going to be a beauty.
Absolutely right, and the man you've got coming up, he loves Pinjarra. He calls it God's country as well. So
Aiden De Campo.
Yeah.
How will he be this morning after yesterday? He was at the footy.
Well, he should be used to disappointment, so...
Do I put the question to him?
Absolutely. He went to the game.
Yeah, I saw him there on the...
He probably wanted to pull the jumper on in the last quarter.
Yes. Well, depending on when you asked him as well, he might have said that he would have done a better job too.
I think he would say that just any time.
Yes. All right. Good job. Enjoy today.
Thank you, Tim.
Matt Young and his look at Pinjarra and also Gloucester Park tomorrow night. We're back with Aiden De Campo next.
You are listening to Often Pacing on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
Great to have your company wherever you're listening in this morning. Matt Young and Ollie Cownie with us prior to the break, giving us their rundown on Pinjarra and Gloucester Park. And right now, we'll look back at Friday night at Gloucester Park and I'll look ahead to the next couple of days as well. Aiden De Campo with us on the program after a successful night. Aiden, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Tim. How you going?
Yeah, going along very nicely. I have to ask the same of you. You were there at Optus Stadium yesterday. Just a one word on the footy to describe yesterday.
Just a good horse out of form. I'm hoping we've got a nice little tune-up game. Tune-up game this weekend should put us back into form, so we should be right.
Well, hopefully the fortunes can turn. Hopefully they can turn like your stable. Have been able to do over the last couple of weeks, turn into winners. Wishing Bell, the starting point there in the Champagne Classic. First and foremost, obviously a special night as well, where we were able to honour Darren Kinnamon. He had the free-for-all named in his honour, in the memory of him, and to play such a big role on a night where we did honour his memory, headlined by Wishing Bell, it must be pretty special.
Yeah, it was, Tim. Credit to Gloucester Park and Scott Hamilton. They really did all they could to kind of, ease a little bit of pain in what's been a hard time for our stable and also the Kinnamon family and, also a lot of larger group of owners. He was kind of the guy that brought a lot of my owners together and, it was really easy to get along with and was always happy to have a chat. So, be dearly missed and, thank the Harness Racing fraternity over the last couple of weeks, getting around me and the family and the stable. It's been good.
You would have enjoyed that race on Friday as well, the Champagne Classic. It was a beauty between the two-year-olds. Yeah,
it was, Tim. I thought, our only chance of winning was probably crossing that horse at the start. And when that didn't happen, I thought, she'll run a nice second. But, to the horse's credit, she probably went a bit better than I thought she could.
You've been pretty vocal in your opinion that she's a real professional. So what you're seeing behind the scenes, is this a horse that has not only done a good job early doors, but can come back later on in the year when there's some good prize money up for grabs and play a role in that?
I think so, Tim. Everything I've seen so far suggests that she will. She's, she's shown a fair bit of speed in her races, and then on Friday night shown a fair bit of toughness and ran really good time and, ran 27.7 on the way home on Friday and was still running through the line. And she's just such a beautiful little horse. You can drive her out of the gate and she switches off for you and she's nice and lazy. Then when you ask her, she just keeps giving you more. So, beautiful little horse. And, hopefully she comes back as good and, we can have a little bit more fun later in the year.
Yeah, just in terms of previous two-year-olds, you had a wonderful season back in 2021. You were able to clean up on that occasion, and you've always been thereabouts with two-year-olds in recent times. Menemshire as well a couple of years ago. Does she stack up as one that is as well placed as those ones to be able to continue on her winning ways and certainly very competitive ways?
Yeah, definitely, Tim. As far as fillies go, in my short training career over the last 6-7 years, I don't think I've kind of had one.
Yep.
As nice as her. I've had a fair few colts that have done really good jobs as two-year-olds. But, as fillies go, just how professional she is and how much she wants to do it and how she just keeps improving every time she goes to the races. It's just, it's exciting. And, hopefully she comes back when they all start to fire up again later in the year and can match it with the other ones that went, up racing early.
When I spoke to you last week, you mentioned don't sleep on Copper Fine. So I suppose that's as much as you could have asked for Copper Fine on Friday night to be able to run third behind the two smart ones.
Yeah, he's still a work in progress, Tim. I thought I had him a little bit more tractable than what he was. He wanted to hang quite bad and flicks an inside knee a little bit, and he's a big, rangy kind of horse. So, he ran third, and that was probably, all he was going to do. But I think once he kind of figures it out a little bit, and probably more towards the end of the year in a 3-year-old season, he will be a nice horse. He's bred to be a nice horse. So hopefully he continue to improve.
I mentioned Menemsha earlier on, was able to take out race number 3 on return on Friday night. Was that everything you could have asked for?
Yeah, probably a little bit more than I expected, Tim, inside the second row. I just thought it was a perfect draw for him.
Yep.
As previously, we've kind of had a few hard runs first up, probably not to the horse's fault, probably to more my fault. And I was quite happy that he was drawn inside the second row. And Trent was aboard. He was always going to give him a nice drive. And, I was probably more confident of Magnus Victor winning that race. But, he got a really good run off the back of him around the corner. And, he's lethal off a helmet. And I reckon once he gets up in grade a bit more, that'd be the best way to drive him. Yeah, and if he can't lead, that is. Yeah,
and so he's got a nice couple of months coming up, obviously leading into the 4-year-old races as well, which we know the 4-year-old race didn't stand up last week. But the next few months, just is it a couple of runs and then another short break before the 4-year-old races, or how do you look to attack it?
Yeah, he'll probably have a good 6 to 10 runs, just depending on how he's going, Tim, this time in. Give him about a month off in the middle of the year, just after winter or something like that. And, I think those 4-year-old races aren't right to the end of the year now. So that'll be his main aim. But, if we can kind of get him through and just teach him, a little bit more. He's not overly highly raced, so if we can just teach him a little bit more and get his confidence up and hone his craft over the next few months, that'll be good.
And just for Trent as well, Matt mentioned it, a Metro treble, that's exciting for him, and he does a lot of good work and drives a lot of winners for you.
Yeah, I hope he's not tuned in because I'm going to give him a bit of a rap. He's probably one of the hardest working drivers I've met. When I first met him probably 10, 12 years ago, you used to do your form and see Trent Wheeler in the race and think, geez, I want to stay away from him. He'd just be tearing everyone up. But credit to him, he's really learnt, asked a lot of questions and, over the last 4 or 5 years, he'd be one of the better drivers in the state. So, happy to give him the opportunity, and he repaid me. Back-to-back
in the Champagne Classic after Raynette won it last year as well. Just a word, Raynette, speaking of Raynette's race, you had Itzmar time in that race. How did you come away from that?
Yeah, disappointed. Thought I had her on the right track again, but, maybe she was just a little bit too far away from the races for 3 weeks. She got out of pace again around the corner, so... go back to the drawing board with her, try and change a bit of gear, and give her another start in a couple of weeks. She just, she's a funny horse to try and get right, and I still haven't really found the potion for her, but, we've got a bit of money in the bank now, so just try and keep her happy and, try and work it out and, fine-tune her craft a little bit and trying to get it ready for the Oaks later in the year.
All right. Now, Como El Viento kickstarts your next couple of days this afternoon at Pinjarra. Race 5 on the program. Drawn barrier 2 first up. Is he doing everything right behind the scenes?
Yeah, he is, Tim. He had a good trial 10 days ago, and I've given him 2 good hobble runs since. He's a 2-year-old that was a little bit out at sea at times, but showed good ability. And this time in, he seems to be a lot more switched on. He is really working up nice, and I think he's going to be a good city 3-year-old later in the season. All
right, and you end your day today with the big caboose in the last. So what did you make of the debut last week?
Yeah, it was nice and erratic and gave Joey a bit of a fun drive. But he's a funny kind of horse. His trials have been okay. And then I put a bit of work into him in between his last trial and that race, and it might have just knocked the top off him. So we just freshened him up this week, and it's a really even kind of field. No superstars, going to jump out of this race. But I think if he just kind of slots in and we drive him like he did at his trials, and he showed that he could sprint a fast 400. So it's probably an each way chance. All
right, Rajar Rocks and Better Arcade in race 4 tomorrow night. Ollie's put Rajar Rocks on top by virtue of the draw. Is that all important tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think so. The horse is racing really well. I thought he was, on career best last start. I I didn't think he was overly tough in the breeze, and I thought he stuck on quite well where they ran a really quick middle half. So, if he can hold all the horses to his outside and find the front, he's going to be a good chance. And if he cops too much pressure, I think, Better Arcade was really good last start, and I think I've kind of got him back on the right track after a disappointing one up 2 starts ago. I think he'll get back to his best tomorrow night, but he'll need a little bit of luck from the draw.
Excellent. All right, and Magnificent Storm as well. It's all eyes towards Saturday night, and you'll be back as well. So first up last week, it was such a race, the Mount Eden Sprint, to watch, and I reckon you would have been pretty happy with what he did.
Yeah, have you got the noms there, Timmy? Am I back on him? He went pretty good.
Yeah, I'm eagerly refreshing the email. I normally get the emails through for it's about this time as well, so I'm refreshing as we speak because I'm looking forward to seeing who's in the noms for that. And obviously the disappointment with Never Ending not being in the Nullarbor anymore came out. But obviously you've had the association with Magnificent Storm going back to many years ago now, a couple of years ago, the Pacing Cup. So hopefully this week you're back with him and winning a Bunbury Cup. That'd mean a bit.
Yeah, no, I should be back on him, Timmy. It's hard to see him go around. He's actually his last 3 starts have all been suspended for over the space of a year and a bit. So, hard to see him go around, but I thought the horse went, as good as it possibly could. I actually thought he went a lot better than where he was at for where he was going, but that's why Ray's a lot smarter than me. So, he'll come on from that. And, all eyes on Nullarbor. He'll have another, obviously good run in the Bunbury Cup, Hometown Cup, so hopefully he can win that. And even if he doesn't, he's just going to keep getting better for his preparation, and it's going to work out good that he's peaking around Fremantle Cup, Nullarbor time.
I was going to say, I didn't think he did too much wrong in that trial when you did trial him up, so otherwise you were going to break a story there for us, Aiden.
What story is that?
Oh, that you might have been given the flick from him. I was hoping that wasn't the case. For your sake, anyway.
No. Well, not at this stage. I still got about 4 or 5 drives before the Nullarbor, so there's plenty of time.
Yeah, exactly right. No, let's hope that he continues on his merry way. And all the very best to you over the next couple of days, and well done again on Friday night.
All right, Timmy, thanks for that, mate. Appreciate it.
Go well. There is Aiden De Campo with us on the program. All right, that's us done for another week. We're going to have race day coming up again very, very shortly on the other side of the break, and we'll have a few of our East Coast previews. Don't forget, there's plenty to work through on the harness racing front today. Pinjarra Racing WA Harness X page, full interviews, full coverage of that meeting there with Matt Young, and then Gloucester Park again tomorrow night. We'll be down here as well, and then back again here Friday night. So a lot to work through, and then Bunbury Saturday night. All eyes there. We're eagerly awaiting the nominations to drop at any tick of the clock. Short break. We're back with our East Coast previews on the other side.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelpline.org.au.